2nd, 2024. Call a meeting to order. Make a motion to elevate the alternatives.
I'll make a motion.
Noreen, okay. You'll make a motion. Second? Yes. Okay. All right. Tim is not here.
No,
Won't be here. Okay. All right. My favorite topic, Doug.
minutes. Whoa.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm
Called,
here.
all right. Approval, sorry, I
That's all
always
right.
skip.
That's why I'm here. That's why I moved from there to here.
The March 7th minutes. Any comments? Very well done as far as I was concerned.
They were concise.
And as Bruno stated that bottom of page 2, Bruno stated that there's a deeded stipulation that the USVLT will inherit that says, is that correct?
Yep, any damage done to the roads
Okay.
needs to be repaired, yes.
And then the paragraph above that, Lauren stated that in the middle of the page, Lauren stated that as a land trust, it should be capital L, capital T.
Where are we? Where are you, Mark?
That same page, up to the middle paragraph, the third to last line. I'm just trying to prove that I read this shit.
I don't see.
Third line up from the bottom.
Capital project, no.
Oh, well.
I don't know where he's talking.
Right down here.
Should it be
Should
land
the right
trust?
I'm the right one.
Land trust site.
Is that okay with small l, small t?
Yeah, should be.
Yeah, because it's a site,
Okay.
yeah. You're reading them, that's good.
All right.
You said that
All
last
right.
night, you read them.
You can tell how
Good.
bored I am.
That's good.
Congratulations. Okay,
All right, so we got to be,
next item.
we haven't done the vote on it yet.
Okay,
Nobody approved them.
all right, make a motion to approve the minutes.
Who's the second? Maureen?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, public comment. Anybody interested in making a comment? No? Okay. All right, now back to Doug. All right. Doug, what's the latest?
Well, I'll try to be a more constant presence here. I know we kind of missed one meeting in the cycle last month, but yeah, we're making good progress. You've probably seen we've had some advertising to be soliciting
Right.
some public funds, and we're going to start a more serious public campaign soon. We have a subcommittee working on that, so that's we have a goal of around $100,000 that we're trying to get from that, and that hoping for surpass that, but and again we have about $500,000 in hand. Some of these grants, however, will not be awarded until the actual closing, or they have a schedule that's out there a ways. So
Okay.
our present closing date is November 15th, and that was again, we have, because Sally Manikian was here from the Conservation Fund, so they're helping us. We usually have a little bigger ball players on bigger projects like this. So as you know, the Conservation Fund has been dealing with the Crow family, and so they will, it's looking like at this point they will actually purchase the property. A lot of our funding won't be in hand, and then they will hold it until we finish our fundraising, which will probably be, we're thinking around February of 2025.
Okay.
And so that's our immediate plan. I guess the other, we've started a survey of the property, and that was essential, and There will have to be another final appraisal because of a lot of some of the federal funding we require, that to update everything. And those will all be, looking good for completing everything in a timely way. So I've been talking with, I had realized the railroad, the state has been doing quite a bit of beaver control and various, because the tracks were getting seriously flooded by some of the eager beavers in there. And so, they brought in a lot of ballast and stuff. So I don't know if anybody personally knew about that, but it was something I was a little surprised when I went down. He said, "Oh, hey," I knew it was a problem. So I've kind of been in touch with them about potentially making some future arrangement to. I think they use the entrance in off Forest Pines Road to get in there, which they really don't have any right of way to do that. So I thought in the future we might want to make that sure that we have a good crossing into the land and that they have a right to go in there, just to make that happen. So,
Okay.
so yeah, we're looking at some of the other things, and again, I've been talking with the Madison Shores, the Davis Pond people, a bit about what our plans are, and so I think we seem to be coming along, and had given you a more succinct copy of what the easement might look like.
Yeah, that's been very helpful. You answered one question I was going to ask you, and that was with respect to the survey, because the easement refers to land that's been surveyed
Yeah.
and described. A couple of very incidental questions, because I don't think I've had an opportunity to review this. I don't know whether anybody else has. And you have the easement holder's name as the inhabitants of the town of Madison. Who are they? And you have them as the a corporate body having a corporate body in politics having an address right here. Now, is that the actual? It's not the town of Madison, it's the inhabitants of Madison?
Well, that language is commonly used. I would say we should put in, whatever
Okay,
makes the
as
most
long as,
sense.
as long as it's understood, because I don't, my understanding would be that if we wanted to do anything, we would have to do a public hearing to get the inhabitants involved in any issue whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that was a confusion on my, or an issue on my part. I don't know whether it's, you also are going to do a baseline documentation report, and that is in the plan?
That just basically the existing conditions, and it's got everything in that, what's there in place, and what again, what the conditions are as a baseline. So if anything as anything changes in time, then you have that documenting the way we received the land, and it's
So
very
that's
comprehensive.
anticipated to be done before the easement is executed?
Yes, and that again is a very important legal document, especially
Okay.
for the conservation easement, so, yeah.
Okay. I have a lot of comments, but I'm going to save them until others are...
Yeah, I went through the version that was dated 2/22/24. Is there significant change in this one for 4/18/2024? Because I went through and made a lot of notes for myself to question, and so I didn't know.
There were quite a few changes.
Yes.
for
Really?
making it
Yes.
more.
Oh, so I gotta go through it again.
Well, it's substantive in terms of, this one is a lot better.
Okay, all right.
in
Oh,
terms of-
okay.
Yeah, the other one was more pulled off the shelf by Mike, and then didn't realize it wasn't a great fit. so-
Well, this has revisions. This wasn't the first one.
No,
Okay, yeah.
It was
right.
number
yeah.
2. This is number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
No.
So
Yeah, number
I
1.
propose that by the next meeting, we have all the members of the board prepare a of review and have, their comments provided. So we can have something to send to Doug
How do you want the comments?
by email.
But some require discussion and,
Well, that's why you indicate you want to discuss the matter.
okay, all right.
So you bring those particular issues up. One thing that could be helpful is there's a lot of items that you put in the landholder's discretion. How about if you were to isolate those items, list them, where you want unilateral ability to make a change or make a decision? There's a whole series of them here.
Yeah.
And that will speed up, I think, our consideration in terms of some of the issues related to who has the authority to do what and all of that. The other item that I'm making a suggestion is that if you have an executed conservation easement, you can blot out the easement holder's name so it's confidential. But that would be helpful in terms of what has been negotiated versus what is on every item under the sun in this thing.
Yeah. We keep stealing from ourselves and try to improve things as time goes on, so that it'll look very similar. So,
Well,
just to give you one.
if you-
So, yeah.
We have an issue in terms of a budget issue. And we had a situation where we had to do some cleanup that required an expense. It was budgeted at $4,000, came in at $2,700. We have a limit on our expenditures of $10,000, which the $4,000, as we anticipated it, was difficult. The $27,000 still represents an issue, but the cost of a conservation easement, the lawyer cost, is an unknown at this particular point in time. We cannot go over the $10,000. So whatever we do to try and minimize the legal effort by contributions of the members here with respect to their issues, as well as perhaps we have something other than your model, something that somebody negotiated, so we can reduce the exposure that we have. Because we have a whole series of matters we'd like to pursue. However, it's up in the air as a result of the almost $3,000 expense. So your effort in that regard would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'll save all my concerns and issues I'll write a memo about it.
Do we have a general figure for attorney expenses in easement reviews by towns? Is there a range of $3,000 to $5,000 or more than that or less than that?
It shouldn't be in that. I think it would be a lot less than that. I mean, these are all attorneys have reviewed this inside and out, so from many aspects. So I think anyone would just be, obviously that's a good idea to make sure everything is worded correctly for as far as the town concerns and has what you wanted, and then but we're not in an adversarial thing at all. I mean, I'm just saying it is a good idea to have your representation. And the other thing I should mention is we are planning on giving you back a stewardship fee to help as part of our budgeting to raise money. So get it in your hands to help with expenses like this too. So that's
At the selectmen's meeting, I asked, because I'm assuming we would give this document to our town attorney for review. And so I don't know, and what I asked the selectman to find out or inquire about is that would this be under his purview of his retainer, or would there be an additional expense above and beyond the retainer for him to look at this? And it was my understanding from talking to him a few years ago that he's done this before, so that he should be able to give us, I would think, a ballpark figure. But I do agree with you that the more we can pare it down and get the wording succinct and correct, the less review will be needed and the less expense there will be.
Right.
If I could speak to that.
Sure, please.
As selectman. I believe Linda even confirmed that that is very likely covered under the regular retainer. So that, hope she was going to confirm, but hopefully that legal piece
But
will
that's-
be covered under the retainer.
That's a
That always
relief.
helps.
So that'll be helpful, I think.
Yeah,
Alright.
we want to confirm, but that is.
Okay.
And then another piece, actually, if you don't mind my mentioning,
Sure.
was the money towards the tree removal.
Right.
It was brought, people have come to me and it's been in the back of my mind as well, that the trees have fallen, within the forest, but the only reason for their removal, my understanding, and you guys would know better than I would, is not for conservation. The purpose of the removal is because of the threat to the roads. So
Lots of culvert.
should that
And
fall?
actually, I would say that the Conservation Commission, while present, did not convene, did not discuss, and did not vote to spend that money. So if the selectmen, if we have authority over those funds, we did not vote to spend those funds.
On the trees.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Well, it
if
appeared that
forest
there was a commitment. That we did commit, the selectmen did commit to have the work done. And there was a discussion that the funds were to come out of our account.
Who are the agents to expend the forest maintenance account? Do you recall?
I'm sorry?
Is that who the agents to expend from the
I
forest
believe
maintenance
we
account?
are.
We are,
We
okay.
are.
So then that would require, my understanding, a vote.
Would
Of the commission.
require
A
a
vote.
meeting,
My
a
understanding.
discussion, a vote,
Right.
Right.
To pay
which did not happen.
It did not.
The 2,700.
Because I thought there was discussion at the selectmen's meeting not to pay that out of that account. I thought this was coming out of the $10,000. That's what I thought.
I think that was the intent, but that was not the
Right.
action,
It was
Right.
not voted on.
was not voted.
There was just, there was discussion, but nothing
Okay.
voted. So
My
my,
paddock is over. Hopefully.
so I wanted to
Maybe it's
get your
other business.
thoughts on whether or not that constituted conservation or road maintenance, and make sure that we fund it appropriately.
Well, in conservation, we've left those trees, but we haven't had that many trees fall at the same time. So the DPW's concern was that those branches were gonna clog the culvert. My experience has been that what clogs the culvert is the beaver activity. And therefore, I don't think those trees were going to, eventually over time, they're gonna degrade, but it wasn't gonna happen in 2 weeks.
Right, and culvert though, again, doesn't that tie back to road issue?
Right.
Yes.
So,
I know
mean,
we're really tight on that 10,000, so I wanna make sure it's.
Right.
That we fund everything appropriately.
And I think the discussion on what wasn't appropriate to take out of that funds was legal fees, not the culvert expense of taking the trees out to save the culvert. So are you proposing that maybe the DPW will take that expense?
I can't make any promises, but I wanted to get your thoughts on whether or not that constituted conservation.
Could I add something too? When I attended that selectmen's meeting, and I thought that Mike Brooks explained that if we needed greater than 10,000, that we could in fact ask for it. If the trees were coming out of that because it was an emergency, that we could ask for additional funding to come out of our forest account to make up the 10,000, so that we would be whole at the 10,000. For whatever we needed to spend.
There were steps that required emergency declarations and.
Right, and he explained that the Conservation Commission could still have the 10,000, even if it had to come out, if the trees had to come out, but it would have to come out now for it to be associated with the emergency of getting them out now, or whatever it was. Okay.
But
Thank you.
it was my understanding that when Linda talked to the attorney, he said absolutely not, that we couldn't get any more money until town meeting.
Oh, I see.
And that
That's,
therefore,
yeah, that's what I walked away with.
Oh,
Right.
okay,
You are
that's
right,
the
it
piece
might-
I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, Mike did go down that road, you're correct.
Okay.
But yeah, my understanding was the same as
I'm
yours, that the
missing
end
a
game
segment.
was,
Okay.
yeah, that we would have to go to town meeting.
Okay.
because we
Got it.
thought we wouldn't, but then it turned out we
Right.
did.
I see, got it.
Okay, I think it's appropriate that we take a position and indicate that, that we wish the DPW to incur the expenses for the removal of the trees. So I think, I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
See, you?
So we got, we
Go back, that's all
we
right.
diverse.
your discussion was very helpful.
diverged.
Yeah.
Sorting all of this out.
Right.
Well, in terms of, I have a lot of comments, and since others haven't reviewed it, I'll
I have.
I'd
write a
like to do
memo.
I have
some of it.
I'll write a memo with respect to it, and we'll have it circulated before, and next meeting, let's have a further discussion on the
Yeah,
easement.
that would be great.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
What is, on the recital, it says pursuant to New Hampshire RSA chapter, the conservation areas is subject to an executory interest conveyed by and through. What is an executory interest?
I'm not sure I have a great definition for you, but I can find out. I think that's some of the funders, if the land trust goes belly up, for instance, as a landowner, and they have funded a project, then they have rights to step in. Usually if a land trust, something happens, then it's an attorney general office matter, and they will make sure that something succeeds, you know.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of those executory interests. It's the state, because they're giving money to fund
They
this.
own chip,
Then they have some rights to decide what happens if there was a default. That's mostly what that means.
Okay. And it seemed to clearly disallow ATVs?
That's heading in that direction. There was one specific grant that we're going after that very much said that specifically. So, the drinking water, groundwater trust fund. So, that's kind of beyond our control too. But yeah.
And I'll try to read this sentence on page 14 of 33. It says substantial or high impact outdoor recreational or educational structures will require the easement holder's prior written approval as outlined below, including but are not limited to paved trails, boardwalks other than bog bridges, comma, docks, piers, platforms, lean-tos, yurts. Does it mean other than all of those enumerated, or does it mean other than just bog bridges?
Good question. I was listening very closely, and that may need some better wording.
So that is 3.5.b.7.
I can look at that more closely. I think those are examples of things that maybe weren't considered huge structures.
Yeah,
but
sometimes the illustration isn't helpful.
Yes, it gets.
Yeah, like there's a
they're-
couple places.
They're very unlikely, some of those.
Everything's numbered differently.
Well, there's a whole bunch of things. You're allowed to lease the property, you're allowed to subdivide the property and all of that. I wonder if all of that is appropriate.
That's not true. I don't believe, we don't want that to be true.
Some of that was in there,
It's in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's on page 13, leases allowed,
Yeah, I wanted to know about leases also.
so it's.
As a reserved right, or,
As long as it doesn't compromise any
So you
use
could lease
of
lots.
property or activity permitted under the easement. So there is a limitation. So,
And in that 135B, there's also an extra comma where it says, and temporary portable toilets.
Well, let's put all our comments together. He doesn't have the agreement. I can hand him the
Yeah,
agreement.
well, I'm just saying,
Numbers.
it's something I'll, be glad to go over. Sometimes this is hard to do by committee too.
Yes, it is.
Well,
So
Yeah,
what normally happens is there's usually a subcommittee that does work and brings it back to the main committee.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah,
I
that-
wonder about
that-
that, whether we should have a non-public meeting, you just have a meeting.
A work session.
Oh, it
A
has-
Work
call it a
session.
work
Yes.
session or whatever, to sort all this out.
Go through it
Yeah, 'cause I have
paragraph
a
by
lot of- I have a
paragraph.
lot of
well, we
things,
could have a
lot of
work session.
questions.
I would think it would be public. We would post it. There's nothing here that
Public.
is non-public information.
It would just be on this topic.
Yeah,
And we-
special meeting.
Could
Special
attend
meeting,
too, if
yeah.
it makes it easier to be right there, not helping
Right.
you with questions, but.
I think knowing some of your priorities or knowing some of USVLT priorities on some of the things that are in there would be helpful
Yeah,
when we're discussing it. Well, like the leases, well, are you expecting to rent property or lease property? It just,
Yeah.
and you say, no, well then we don't understand why it's there.
yeah. I'll look at it more closely. It was Linda Camo, who was our one remaining
Yeah.
staff person on the land side,
Yeah.
was the one who kind of refined this, and then I looked it over quickly with her, but I can
Well,
certainly look at it. We can
I do not know.
try to help more.
I think
and
there
refine it.
are, let's call them business issues, and there
Yeah.
are legal issues.
Yeah.
Our focus would be on the easement intent and the scope and all of that,
Yeah,
what the
what-
rates are. That's why I asked you to say, if you would, review the document and say where you have the ability to make a unilateral decision. That would be helpful to us in terms of our review, because I have an impression on those items, and so that would be helpful.
Yeah.
All right.
The whole idea is to be a partnership and
Yeah.
do the right
Exactly.
things
Yes.
on the land, so
Yes.
we don't want to make it, so we're off on tangents that we don't want to.
So, getting back to the closing, are you looking for the entire $1.2 million by November 15?
No, we won't have it in hand by then, and that's why we're going to the, we were trying to get an extension of the closing date out into like February 2025, and the landowners wouldn't do it. So now we're back to, we can't raise the money that fast, so.
Well, the appraisal cost alone is you have budgeted at $170,000. So
That
I
might
assume
be
you're
the
gonna
land
have to be
survey.
paying
I don't
that.
think that's the appraisal, is it?
Oh, pardon me?
I don't think that appraisal was that much, is it?
So it says survey, 170.
Well,
That's
survey.
that's a land
Survey.
surveying of
Survey.
the whole.
Oh, I'm sorry, it said appraisal cost.
625 acres.
It's $20,000 for the appraisal cost.
Yeah.
170,000 is for the survey. I misspoke, sorry.
Yes.
So you're gonna have to obviously pay that before.
Not necessarily. We have a nice considerate
Appraiser or surveyor?
contractor who's
Okay.
not going to bill us up front.
Well,
So,
since you've been in that field, so you probably have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ability to work some
So,
magic there. Okay, well, that's very helpful.
But, again, I think the funds that you have, we kind of need some money to leverage other money, because a
Right.
lot of the funders want money in the door, and so it kind of is one of those
Okay.
cart before the horse things, so.
Yeah.
So yours is a very important contribution that we,
Yeah.
really appreciate sometimes, so.
Okay.
I've got to ask a silly question. What's the yellow mean? It's continuing from addition to addition.
The yellow?
That's how it.
Highlighted.
The highlighted.
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 pieces.
So each yellow is not necessarily a new thing to look at.
That's how it came across.
Did
with
it
Doug.
come that way? Those are probably things where we might have, again, I'll have to look at the original again, but there might have been a change there or something we needed to
Okay.
talk about,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, a lot of it is blanks that would need to be filled
Yeah,
in.
yeah, mostly that's where we need more information or.
Right.
If you were going to join us for a committee work, for a work session, evenings or afternoons, what's best for you?
I'm flexible.
Okay.
Okay, do we want to select a date? Looking at the calendar, I assume we want to get it in this month.
Maybe next week, and then if we needed, we'd have some time to have a second one if we wanted to before the next meeting,
How about the 9th?
the 9th.
The room is occupied by the rec committee on the 9th.
Okay,
And there's an all-day seminar at Josh and Larry.
all right. How about the 10th?
Friday.
I won't be here.
Are you?
And I
Oh,
checked
that's
the
right.
weather, and it's
That's
gonna-
right, it's Friday, it's a
I
Friday.
think it's gonna be 70 degrees and sunny that day too.
Okay.
You won't be here either.
All right.
I'll be on my porch.
Me too.
How about the 13th?
Unfortunately, I'm away that whole next week, so.
Oh, I am
All right.
too.
Sorry about
I am too.
And I've got
Yeah.
Sunday on the 15th, so don't do anything then.
So we're into the week of the
How
20th.
about the 16th?
I think we're all away that week.
I'm
All the
away
way,
the
okay,
whole
that
week,
week.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we go to the next week. How about the 23rd?
21st,
23rd.
23rd?
Either.
Do you
Thursday,
need me there?
of course.
No, do we?
Why,
Do
you're
we?
gonna be away?
No, but I was just,
Okay, you can, you're,
I don't-
If it's just working on documentation.
You're
I don't think you
Yeah,
have to
I
do
think
that.
it's just
Good,
working on
okay.
You're-
documentation.
good.
okay.
Yeah,
23rd,
Yeah, that's fine.
23rd?
4:30?
Check the work calendar.
I'm
I
okay?
can't do 4:30.
Can't do
On the
4:30?
23rd, I can do,
How about 1:30 then?
at 1:30 I could do.
1:30, 23rd.
Could we make
Calendar.
it, could we make it an afternoon, or, I mean, excuse me, more of an evening type thing?
You wanna do an evening?
I can, well, I work full-time.
Oh, okay,
But
so-
if that day I can make 1:30 work, but if it
You
could be an
prefer
evening-
not to? Okay, I don't wanna infringe on anything. So how about 6:30 on the 23rd?
6:30 I could do.
Yeah.
6:30?
Good. Is that too late to go into, again, I want to be reasonable, is that too late to go into a heavy-duty documentation go-through
I
session?
don't
All right, then
think
what's
so.
a good day? Do we move?
No, that day, but it,
That day.
that day still works, but I,
Yeah.
And I think if we have it at that time, Tim Nolan could be here too
Yeah,
if he
Tim
wanted
could
to
be
be.
here. That might be
He
good
can
to
do
have
the
him.
evenings.
6:30? Forrester.
6:30 on May
May
23rd.
23rd.
6:30.
I can come back and lock up afterwards.
5:30?
You guys are done.
I wanna make it 5:30?
Or
5:30?
Madison TV usually has a key.
Okay.
Madison
5:30
TV could lock up?
5:30 or
maybe
6:30?
5:30?
They
I
wouldn't
don't
have to
have
be
the
here.
work
if you'd
calendar
like us
here.
to-
Oh,
Oh.
Is
well,
it
they
a
don't
work
have to,
session,
that's
or
true, I
is
don't
it-
know.
They wouldn't have to be here
They
for a
wouldn't
work
have to be
session.
here.
No, I'll come back because I'll have the key. I have a
Oh,
key.
okay.
You don't have to come
I
back.
have a key,
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you can do it, okay. But,
I have a code and a key. Yeah,
5:23, 5:30?
5:30,
Right,
5:20.
we're-
6:30.
Wait, 6:30?
We're saying 6:30.
Close.
6:30 is what I have on the calendar.
6:30,
Yeah,
okay.
6:30.
Okay,
I was just responding to a 5:30 request.
all right.
So my question then is, how are we going to record the things? I mean, we're going to need to record what we decide and what we,
I can take notes, I'm happy to,
yeah,
again, use
maybe
my
between
computer
the two of
notes
us we
and
can,
stuff.
okay,
Yeah,
all
I-
right,
we can figure that out.
okay,
Are
good.
you okay, Doug?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, and
Okay.
I'll definitely look at those issues you already mentioned and the retained rights and the.
All right.
things here.
Yeah, I just assumed the yellow things were what were being taken out, but that was just an assumption on my
I
part.
ignored
I think they're talking.
Okay,
The only issue I have is I don't have my wife's calendar, and she has continuous medical things, so I will send an email if there is an issue. I know she has, I think it's the 24th, I'm pretty sure it's the 24th, so 23rd, I think I'm good, but I don't have for her.
You want to get back to me? and let
I'll
me
get
know?
back to you
Yeah,
and
that's
we'll
fine.
deal with that. Okay. All right. Doug, I think we covered the waterfront with you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you. Yeah.
thank you.
And anybody for having our annual meeting and
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Yes.
I couldn't get on the system. I'll call in.
oh, okay. Anyway, that's this coming Saturday and
Right.
Rick Vanderpool, who's
I know,
quite
it's great.
an expert, will
He
will
is.
be talking and then leading a
Right.
walk on the
He's
property.
awesome.
So
Okay,
anybody's welcome to come.
all right, thank you.
Okay,
Property review, I think we had two.
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, Mike Morrow was responsible, which kind of probably falls on Joy.
Did Joy
That's
inherit
not
that?
fair.
What did I inherit that I'm not aware of?
That's not fair.
So,
Hit me with it.
Doing the update
Thank you, Doug.
for McNair easement, so I don't know who wants it. I don't have marked yet either. Stacy Mountain,
Huh?
your,
I have, yeah, no, I have.
yeah, okay.
So what is it?
Doing a update for the properties, McNair easement, which you do you know anything about?
It's
You may
across
not
the
be
street.
familiar with it.
Down the street,
Down the street,
down the street a little bit.
So what needs to be done?
Well, they all submit their, I'll show you, everybody's done their little packets of what they, like this was Emily's, she did me a little update of what's there. Noreen did hers, which Ralph has. I'm trying to keep track of everybody's packets of stuff. So,
this is the update, the,
and this might be something you probably won't, I think it might be over. You decide. I'm just gonna sit here and let you
Okay.
drive the bus.
the issue
That's-
is that we have property descriptions, we have a book upstairs which describes all the conservation properties. There have been changes that have taken place, and description of the property, for example, certain things have happened to certain properties and things like that. So we had a division of labor, essentially, where we separated and had people volunteer, like this guy, right?
Hasn't sent it in yet.
Volunteer to, Noreen did the property at, two, didn't you do? You did
Yes.
several.
Yep, she did.
And so that we then agreed to modify the property description that's in the book. So that's essentially what we're doing, updating all of the property descriptions so they're current. And some of these descriptions go back well past 10 years. So again, there's been additional work that's been done by Tim that reflects additional property line definitions and things like that that have taken place. And some things have grown in, where we had views on the Wool property that don't exist anymore, kind of things. So we're updating that. So that's important because the next item is, the last item there is digitizing town property reports. Essentially, we want to update the reports before we attempt to
Right.
digitize them.
Makes sense.
So,
And the abutters changed too, and that.
right, the tax map changed, the nomenclature and the numbers have changed, they're not the same as they were in ancient history, that kind of stuff. So it's a matter of just making the documentation up to date.
Mhm.
That's essentially what we're attempting to do. So the McNair easement is one that is open.
And how many acres is the property?
There's
Well-
two, actually.
How much needs to be walked and how much needs to be looked up?
I think it's all a lookup.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's easy for me.
And essentially, we've had Tim, we track Tim's work so that when there is an update required, we rely on Tim to do a site inspection. So he records these various changes, and we attempt to then make the property descriptions reflect his latest report. So that's essentially what it is.
Trying to rotate it, I think, on a 3-year
Yeah.
rotation, because we're legally required to have the properties monitored. So we can do it ourselves, but if we have it done by a professional every 3 years, at least we know that we're meeting our statutory requirements.
Okay, what is the book?
It's upstairs.
I'll show you.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've got,
And how long is the description of McNair, so I'm getting into?
Well, it's a matter of modifying this.
Right.
So you really don't have to do a lot of work. In other words, if there's a report out there that says, look, I did the roll thing, so Tim indicated that he did additional property line definition. So I recorded the fact that there was an additional definition of the property, so that that is in effect stated, so that there was an additional definition of the property line and all of that. So
I'll take a stab at it if that's
Yeah.
okay, and if
it'd be fine, I appreciate
it
it.
seems,
This was Mike's, I can make you a copy of
The book
this.
is
On
huge.
the,
The book is.
The book is,
Binder is-
book is,
it's just a binder.
it is,
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
it's a
thick.
big binder.
Yeah.
well, it's got everything in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and, so, all right, then, well, that's great.
well, and just from about the McNair easement, that property did sell.
Right.
So that
jumping?
it sold. I was up there with the real estate agent at one point, and he was pretty sure where Tim had marked where the easement boundaries are, but it was cut pretty heavily, so there's like one tree here and one tree way down there that has a little red tag on it, but I'm wondering, for the sake of just maybe being a little proactive, that we contact or meet with or somehow show the new owners where that line is before they try to build their house. Because we don't want them,
They're not gonna be doing that for at least a year.
right, but at some point, I think
Okay,
we
well,
need to.
Doing a lot.
Well, another, so maybe,
They're preparing to do site work soon.
Oh, I
Preparing
just
to
met with him.
Lay out the site.
Oh,
work,
that's
what they said.
changed then, because he came in the town hall last week when he was here.
Oh, he
Me
communicated, hi,
too.
I'm Lori McNair. He communicated
Oh,
with
that's-
us that he was gonna start site work and stuff now, soon, in the next couple of months. He's gonna be here June 27th, 28th, 29th, sometime in there, just mentioning it because it came up.
Yeah, he told us not with it.
He's not gonna, he doesn't intend, he's doing
To build.
preparatory work.
Okay.
He doesn't intend to actually build and or move until
Agreed, yeah.
2025.
He's in service.
But he's
So we have plenty
doing
of time.
site prep work.
But it,
Right.
it really narrows in there at one point. There's not that much space between the easement and
Right.
the butter. And so if there's a road going in, it can't go in over here, it's gotta go in over
That's
here.
part of the early site work. that he's
And
gonna
that's
do
what I'm seeing little
Before building a house.
red flags in there.
Good work.
So I'm thinking that boundary needs to be really firmed up before they start doing some work.
okay. Does this require Tim to do some work at this point?
I think maybe.
All right. I'll make a motion to ask Tim to review the boundary. You have a particular location where the boundary is the issue?
Well, it's where the easement comes up onto the land that's been logged, where the primary building site would be.
Well, Tim knows this, right?
And he's the one who said,
Okay.
that was a boundary he wasn't sure about, but he did the best he could. But then all those trees got
How
cut
about
off.
we ask Tim to do an additional marking?
Right, I think maybe put some stakes in or something so that's
All right.
clearer.
I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second that. Have
Right.
Tim review the limits of the easement on the McNair line.
All right.
I can just
Yeah.
show you quickly
So,
what my concern
Keep jumping around.
is that
I got a big
this is where it narrows down,
okay.
where the easement comes
Shouldn't be
in.
in the business. We're
So
jumping
there's
around.
not a whole lot there if he's gonna get a road in up here. The logging road is here,
All right.
so it really narrows in there.
All right. Well, all right, I made a motion. You seconded it.
I seconded it.
All right.
Thank you.
Vote, all in favor? Yes. Okay, I think that hopefully will help the situation.
Do you have a name? Do you have a name, John, for the owner?
Can we ask for a name of the owner?
John
Do we-
Krellner.
I'm sorry?
John Krellner.
Prowler?
Krellner.
Krellner.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
That should have been in the business, but we kind of jumped around.
all right. Master plan,
Table that.
I'm gonna make a suggestion that we wait for, we've made a substantial amount of improvements to the plan. I think there are only a few minor things that need to be added. One being the chain of ponds. I think it's for us to put out an addition before we have the chain of ponds, and then put out another addition right after it. So my suggestion is that we hold off until we acquire the easement, which is a very significant element of the master plan, which modifies the master plan and which potentially modifies the master plan in various respects. So it is referenced in the easement document that they're proposing, refers to a 2002 master plan and a 2010 master plan. However, it doesn't include, the text of the easement does not include the public hearing, which would be, in effect, significant for their documentation, the easement documentation. So they're looking for how we support, why the town is supporting the chain of ponds. So they've referenced those two documents in their document. The only benefit of coming up with a new plan is that they could reference a current plan. So, however, we would modify that plan after we acquire the easement.
Could it be like an addendum? I mean, could we do the master plan, the nuts and bolts of it, and then leave off the town property pieces or put in the chain of ponds as an addendum afterward?
True.
I mean, I don't,
I think the planning board,
Yeah.
last night in our discussion, decided to hire a land planner, community planner, to come and present us with some thoughts on how to update the master plan. Because we kind of looked at it, and the more you get into it, the more you realize the master plan's a real mess, and that it's not going to be a bunch of us sitting around the table straightening it out. We're going to have to get some professional help. And, you know, whether it's 80,000 like Conway just spent, or whether it's 10,000 or 20,000, but we're going to get some input on a budget item that we probably will be bringing to town meeting in March. Because I think realistically that unless anybody who wants to spend 40 or 80 hours on a master plan. So I just don't think, the lay people on the planning board certainly don't have those resources. So.
but the conservation would be an addition to that.
Our master plan is section 8, which is a subset of what you're dealing with.
Right.
So you have substantially more, issues to deal with than we do.
Yeah.
So we're rather focused, and I think we did have decent master plans, prior master plans, and the modifications I think have essentially been agreed to. And I made an addition which we haven't reviewed. The only suggestion I have is that we could just have, when we modify the easement document, we refer to the public hearing and the support there, and it's sufficient. So issuing a report before we have a major change in the Conservation Commission scope of work is sort of like jumping the gun. So my recommendation is that we, after November 15th, we have our feet on the ground with respect to the conservation easement, we then modify the master plan.
I wonder if there's anything similar to what Mark is talking about, that maybe somebody could give us more guidelines as to what should be in the master plan. I don't know if we have what we have is sufficient, or if we should be looking maybe to some forward projections of what we would like to see happen, or if we need to I don't know, organize it differently, I guess. If there's a format that we could use that would meet a standard or something that other towns would use. I just don't know if this person would have knowledge of something like that.
Oh, Jim,
Well,
yeah,
I-
that's what his job
yeah,
is.
and I think
That's what his job is.
it's important to remember while we seek everyone's input to the master plan, it's the planning
Right.
board's, it's the planning board's document, so
So what we do, you could modify if it wasn't what you
we
wanted.
could modify, yes. Yeah.
So this
Or we would
person-
have to approve, we'd have to have a public hearing and vote to have that
Right.
put in anyways. And
But will this
probably
person
we'd be
review
looking
that?
for the, a complete approach to the master plan. So,
So if they thought there should be revisions, that they would get that back to us and then we would work on that, or how would that?
Yeah, I don't know, it's.
We're hoping, we don't, he's bringing a presentation.
We don't, it's gonna be expensive.
Well, again, if we can, as much as we could do, that would cut down on the expense.
Well, are they gonna review all the individual plans?
We're gonna do it is
Chapter by
a
chapter.
a statutory requirement that we update the master plan every 10 years, which we haven't.
When was last updated?
2010.
2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
and it's a pieced together document at this time because I think it's been a couple decades since it's really been
The whole.
a comprehensive approach.
And we could do a similar idea with a work session too, if that would take some of it off of you, Ralph. You don't have to do it all yourself. We could have a work session and talk about it, and it would save, be a little more collaborative, and it wouldn't be all on you to do all the renovations.
All right, well, I guess I'll make a motion that we defer until November.
When you meeting with
Or-
your guy?
For the-
We meet next month.
June 5th.
But I don't, I think the meeting with this guy is gonna cost $490. So, and he bills out at $140 an hour, and if you spend 10 hours, you're, how much? You're 14,000?
Travel time too, I'm
And
sure.
10 hours is gonna do nothing to the master plan, so.
All right. Well, that's also a situation too, that's in flux.
Right.
So I'd prefer not to have one edition followed by another edition.
I think that's a good plan.
Just hold on.
Okay.
Anyone second your motion?
Oh, I'll second the motion. yes.
Thanks.
Sure.
You have to vote.
Okay.
Vote.
Yes. Two.
Everybody?
Yes, everybody's relieved. Digitizing town report.
So, I heard from Minuteman Press. I took up the Lyman Town Forest, the whole packet to him. They worked on it with their graphics team. And you need Adobe Pro in order to do it to be a Word. You know what I'm talking about,
I
right?
do, yeah.
So when he sent it to me, and since you know, he sent it to me, it's very garbled
Okay.
in a Word doc because I don't have Adobe Pro. So
So you had, what was it initially? Was it a PDF to begin with?
it was, no, he
Paper.
scanned them. I gave him
Paper.
the original documents and he scanned them.
Okay.
And then, so he said the only way would be to get a legal, some kind of legal, what am I trying to say? A legal
License?
software.
Yeah, a license software.
Thank you,
Yeah.
to do this. And he tried to do it with, and he sent me what he could do, and it's garbled. It's really garbled.
What do the originals look like? Because what it's doing, what the software is doing is called OCR, optical character
Right,
recognition. Depends on how the originals look and how good.
The originals look fine.
Does it look like a Word document?
Yeah, they look,
So it looks-
they're in pretty good shape. And,
Okay, so it's not like
and
they're
so
trying to-
it's coming out on the other end, and he said, there's no way, I mean, they spent quite a bit of time, and I don't think they're really billing us at all for this time to try to do it. I know Emily got some quotes back a while ago, But that was basically just scanning because,
Just scanning.
yeah.
Do we know what software they tried?
And they want to be able to manipulate it, even though it's scanned in. If they have updates, they want to be able to update their, as a Word document. So this
Okay.
whole big book that's upstairs, it's
Yeah.
about that thick, needs to be scanned and be able to enable, to be able to edit.
You could probably get a
And you're
30-day
the queen
trial.
on this, so that's why I'm looking at you.
You could probably get a 30-day trial of Acrobat Pro, free
Mhm.
free trial. Give it a whirl, see how successful it is.
Mhm.
If it's not, you know,
Yeah, I don't know what else
spend the
to do.
$700 or whatever it is to purchase it. But no, I'll look into other options. But I think that would be a good first step. It's
Not
just
that I'm not talking to you, but I know that
It's all right.
she knows what she's doing with this stuff, so that's why I figured I'd talk to her.
But based on what the selectmen's meeting on Tuesday night, I'm not sure we're gonna be able to use the 500
I know.
money
That's the
out
other
of
thing.
our $10,000
Be
to do
liable
that,
to.
because
Well,
it's the lawyer's opinion was that the way the statute was written, it's strictly for the maintenance of the town forest and nothing else. So, none
If
of
it may
this.
not be
Yeah.
budgeted.
We may not be able to
budgeted.
do it this year, but
Right,
I just wanted to bring it to your attention that I did work on it. I had sent it
If
to
it's
me.
Put something in the budget.
if it's used by multiple, like if
I thought we did.
That's what I
if the
think
clerk
they
ends
want.
up using that, if
Or if,
Thought we did.
say,
Selectmen's office
Marcia
did.
wants to make an update to property description or something, if she
Yeah.
goes out and does her property, that's what we were trying to do, and that's where.
But even if
Lisa-
multiple town departments use it and it's on yours,
We did.
you know, your computer and you're supporting multiple departments, then that might share the cost.
True.
Did we budget for this
Yeah.
last year?
I thought we
In our
budgeted
budget,
some
we put
funds for
$500
this.
in the budget line?
I thought we
I
did.
don't have.
If you have the budget, I'm almost certain we did some
think we did.
consideration for it.
I think we did.
Yeah, I
It
do.
was $1,000 or $2,000, because we did get
Many
estimates.
quotes, but I'd have to
Yeah.
go through
And
it.
I thought I don't remember whether they hit the budget or not, but it was like
Right.
$1,400, I think, was my recollection of the estimate.
The other thing,
That was-
maybe down the road, is we should look at the statute and maybe think about, because the RSA says one thing and then what our description of what our account does says something else, so I don't know if there's any rewriting of that to give us more access to
Right.
the money more easily for things that I feel are important to the town, important to our mission here as a conservation commission. And if our income is coming from all the forest work that we're doing, we should have some access to that money to do things that would benefit the town and the commission.
Mhm.
Another thought I had is that the Conway Public Library has digitized over 100 years worth of the old White Mountain Reporter and the Mount Washington Reporter and the Conway Reporter, going back to 1895.
Wow.
So they've taken old
great.
newspapers and it's searchable. So it is that optical character recognition when you can search. So
Did they use somebody to help them?
I can ask
Yeah.
them. Because they're, on the website, it says they accept donations for next phase
Because
of
it's probably
digitizing things. If you
expensive.
want to
I mean,
sponsor.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
it's-
yeah, I'll find out about that.
Okay. Well, it's work in process. So the next step is what?
You weren't able to find it on the budget?
No, we didn't, no, we
Hmm.
did not.
All right.
Oh, we did too.
I really do. I thought we did. I know I asked.
But we may have thought we
I
could
have to
just
look back
take the
in the minutes
10,000.
to see what we did, but no, it's not on here at all in 2024. Nope. Now we're-
Okay. All right, so we'll do some further work on that to determine next steps, if any.
According to Adobe, Acrobat Pro is only $239.88,
Oh, good.
and you can do a 7-day free trial.
I just wanted time to do it, that's the other part.
And can you get it through TechSoup, which is for nonprofits? Would that also apply to municipalities?
Oh, I don't know.
It's usually cheaper.
It used to be $700, and it used to be very, very expensive. So, if the
You said
standard
two
version-
what?
This said $238, and that's from the Adobe website itself. That may be a subscription price if you purchase it,
Right.
like a cloud version per year or something. Right. Yeah, we can look into that.
Right.
Okay, so we'll do some further research on it.
Yep. Yep.
All right, under new business, election of officers, chairman and vice chairman. We have two members that are absent. Mike Brooks has a conflict, fire department issue. Josh has an out of country wedding, so he's unable to be here. I suggest we defer this until next meeting.
Mike Moj is not here either.
And Mike is not here, so we have three members of the board that are, I believe, should participate in the discussion. So I'll make a motion, we defer that until next meeting.
Some of us, will you be here for the next meeting? Yeah. Oh, okay. I won't be here for the next one, that's okay.
Is Emily still a member? She's
No.
Oh, she's not.
No.
So we have three members that are absent, so I prefer to have their contribution.
You can also try to participate remotely as well for future reference.
Okay.
Marcia, if you're not able to be here,
I can call Lynn.
call in for.
Yeah.
Perfect, that's a great suggestion.
We should elect them.
Yeah, yes, that was always a threat. If you missed it, you get elected,
I've
that was too
I've
bad.
had that happen to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I came in late one night and all of a sudden I was vice chair.
You what?
Okay.
Need a second.
Yes, need a second. Yes. All in favor?
Who's second? Oh, thanks, Ted.
And I have one more thing under new business when we finish.
All right, so-
Okay. Summer camp. We're hitting the time period where that the decision on that needs to be done. We've had prior discussion on it. As far as, I believe some of the pressure is off us with respect to what I believe the easement price tag is, and also the $4,000. So I think we have some flexibility now. We can make some decisions on that. I was going to indicate we defer it because of those two issues. But I think now it's more appropriate that we do have some flexibility with respect to making that.
Again, didn't we budget?
$400.
400, okay.
$400.
Yeah, we budgeted for it,
That
okay.
was for two students.
Yes, two students, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
But we have to make it known. We
yeah.
have to establish criteria for who's eligible.
And what is it?
It's a camper.
Scholarship, a scholarship for a student, two campers,
Mm-hmm.
to join in with some activity in the summer that is nature, environment related. And so we would offer $200 to that student to help pay for the expense of that. And-
Isn't this a
and
February job and not a May job?
It probably should have
It
been.
is.
Well,
Yeah.
it-
Should have been.
It should have
That's what
been.
happened last year. I ran into that. I did all
Yeah,
that
we
research
ran
and then we
into a
got to
problem.
Too late.
May
It was
and it was
too
like,
Because these programs would be 6 weeks away at this point.
I know,
Right, I
right?
know.
And they fill up, they sign, when I've talked to these different, this whole pack of people last year,
Yeah,
they had people signed up early.
Madison Rec Summer Camp.
It's full.
The first 2 weeks are already
Yeah.
full.
are already full.
Yeah, 40 kids.
So how about the other weeks? I mean, is there a possibility that we could
I don't know
offer-
that Madison Rec Summer Camp would qualify for what you're talking
I don't know.
about.
We would have to see
Right.
what's being offered.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's 2 days a week at Silver Lake, at the beach,
Okay.
1 day a week field trips. The other two is at Brookfield.
Is it what?
The other 2 days at Brookfield, 2 days a week at Silver Lake, 2 days at
Oh,
Brookfield,
okay.
and then Friday field trips to
I thought
various
Tin
amusement
Mountain
parks.
entered into our discussion.
Yeah,
Right,
Tin
I
Mountain.
thought it was
offers-
Tin Mountain.
And
Yeah.
that's where I thought
Yeah.
we were working
Well, do we
at.
want to indicate to them that we have availability?
Well, how about if we I would make a motion to say we let Tin Mountain determine that we have two $200 available scholarships from the town of Madison for Madison students who might be entering into their summer programs. And that we allow them to make the decision as to where
Do you
to
want it to be
apply it.
Madison resident, or do you?
Yeah, you have to set some
You really should
criteria.
Well,
Yeah.
I said a Madison resident, yeah, Madison student, a Madison resident.
And then is it first come, first serve, or are there certain criteria?
How
that
do
they
you
need
want
to
it?
meet?
That's what you brought up last year. How do you make that determination?
Well,
I suggest that we go through the school counselor. She was the one that used to come to me or some of the other teachers and say, you know, I'd like to be able to send this kid somewhere for 2 weeks and we need to raise $300. Could you make a donation? You know, so school counselors really have their fingers on the need, and lots of, like, I remember Camp Belknap would offer a scholarship and we'd find, so sometimes the scholarships come to the counselors in the schools and then they, you know, find the kids that can do it.
And if 200, I think some of the camps can be expensive. If 200 wouldn't be enough, there is the Ospey Children's Fund that puts kids through all of summer rec camp, need-based. So if, you know, 200 came from the Conservation Mission and somebody, well, I still can't go, it's not enough, you know, refer them to the Ospey Children's Fund to supplement.
but who does that? Who refers them? Who?
They actually can just contact the Ospey Children's Funds themselves.
Oh, they
and
can?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And maybe we should check with the school counselor and see when we should be on this
Yeah,
and not wait till
because we may be too
the
late.
last minute.
No, that's what happened last
Okay.
year. Kind of innocent.
So, I mean, could I suggest that you and I go to the school counselor at the Madison Elementary School and talk to them and
Sure.
find out?
We could just go right to
We
the
could
front
just go,
desk, yeah.
right, we'll just go to the front desk.
She is a very busy lady, so I would
Oh.
just recommend making an appointment.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Or I think we can just give the information to the principal and she, well, we'd
do
call
that.
and see what's the
We
best,
could-
we'd call and see what's the
that's
best thing to
way
do.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
So
so,
we'll take it on.
Yeah,
all right, so the motion is that we make a statement to Tin Mountain
I think
with the
now the
availability,
Yeah,
let me-
okay.
with the availability of $400 for 2 students, and that we will indicate our preference for children in need. So that will give, you'll have input on that. So we'll supply names, and if they fall out, the $200 goes to anybody from Madison. Okay? That's the motion.
second it.
Yeah, okay, yes?
And next year, make this a town
Do it in
report
February.
kind of thinking, and think about it
Yeah.
in February.
Right, find
Well,
out
we did-
when those.
We did at one point.
Yeah, nothing was going on, and then it was at the last month's meeting here that
Yeah,
Adele talked about camp. and
We'll
that's
try to
further-
find that out too from the school counselor when those
Yeah.
notices come in or when they start looking for the kids, so that we'll be on top of it.
Well, we can still do it this year.
Yeah, the
Hopefully.
Tin Mountain website even has its own scholarships, and it's first come, first serve, which removes any other barriers or any
Okay.
criteria or anything. It makes it
Right.
simple.
Right. Well, we'll get the ball rolling and it will happen. Okay?
And then the other thing under, excuse me, under new business is, Kate, did Tim send you an email? Tim Nolan,
About what?
about changing the meeting time?
No, he just said that he couldn't meet tonight's meeting because it wasn't.
He's talked to me and he said that with what's happening in their lives now, that 4:30 is not a time that he can meet. He would like to see us meeting at 6:30 or later, back to 7 o'clock at night, because he just can't make these 4:30 meetings. And I know I would prefer a later meeting. I don't know if anybody else would. I have some conflicts in the afternoon, and so I didn't know if we could discuss the possibility of changing the meeting time.
All right.
for the whole board.
Yeah.
Let's cover it next week, next meeting. Get all the other participants. Okay. Selectmen's report, Joy?
actually sending the link to you, Kate, for the Tin Mountain, so you.
Oh, I've had conversations
The
with them.
camp page.
I've dealt with them last
Yeah.
year when I was trying to get
Yeah.
it all worked out. So.
This one has the, like, the current dates and a link to how to do a scholarship application and stuff, so I just didn't know if that
Oh,
would
okay.
be extra for, hi. So, so I talked about that piece. Alternates.
Right.
So, it was brought to a request of the select board about having more than 2 alternates to the Conservation Commission. It was looked up, there's no legal reason not to, and we just wanted to defer to the commission to see what you want, if you are, okay with adding an additional alternate and having 3 instead of 2.
I don't think there's any issue.
I think you should make them half, if they want to be an alternate on the Conservation Commission, they have to be an alternate on the Planning Board.
I was reading that down. Don't say that.
There you go.
But that would make somebody expire every 3 years, the same as the membership
Right.
expires every 3 years. So it would have the same rotation that we have for the full
Good
membership.
idea too as well. All right. You have a name?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, for us, for the selectmen, it was just a matter of number, 2 or 3.
But we had 4 people who applied to be on conservation.
We only
And
received-
so this lady back here in the corner, Liza Rogerson,
That's the only one we received. Was yours? Yep.
Oath of office.
This
So-
was the only one we received the application for. It was hers.
for what?
No, not for
Conservation, for alternates for conservation.
Right, for alternate, no,
She
when,
said 4. I didn't have
We had
4.
Yeah.
4 people that's applied for the 3
We had one.
positions on
Oh, okay.
conservation.
But if they were alternates, I only had her for an
you know,
alternate.
the first select board meeting after town hall,
Yep.
when we appoint members of the different boards and commissions, we had a last minute submission for Conservation Commission, which put it up to 4 for 3 positions.
Okay.
So the thought was brought to the select board of, we have enough people interested, why not open it up to as many to at least one other alternate showing interest. So the select board, I wanted to defer to the commission and make sure that you guys would be on board with having a number of
Okay.
3 alternates.
I'll make a motion that we have a 3-person alternate.
Second?
Need a second? Ted, did you second? Vote? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
So
All right.
what's the step to submit?
So, Eliza's here, so I think we can,
You sure you really want to do this?
I've been listening.
Planning Board is way fun.
It's much more fun.
I know the rec committee I hear has some openings too.
ZBA. That's even more fun.
So thank you.
Okay. That's it?
Do we
Oh,
vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did we vote? Yeah.
You didn't.
I thought
We did.
we did.
You did?
We
Yeah.
voted.
We
Okay.
voted to have an alternate, we didn't vote to,
You didn't vote for whom,
for,
but just.
for whom? We
We
I
voted
think-
to 3 positions.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
and I
So-
don't know if that now has to go back to the select board, for the select
Okay.
board to now change.
will appoint.
We
The
nominate.
Or you could change your mind.
You
if
could
feel-
nominate someone, yeah, I'll think on it.
We'll nominate,
So, well,
All right.
If you wanna nominate,
yes,
someone,
we'll
You want to
nominate
yeah,
Eliza Rogerson.
yeah.
Okay.
with a Z.
All right. Make a motion to appoint Marcia?
Nominate. The
Nominate.
the selectmen have to.
The
Okay,
selectmen will
nominate.
appoint, we'll
Okay.
nominate.
Technically.
Nominate Eliza, right?
So,
All right, second by Mark,
great,
and
voted on by
yes,
all of us, great.
congratulations. Okay, anything else from you, Joy?
No,
I think that's it. Okay, then we have Mr. Olson.
We met last night and really tried to figure out where we're going with the master plan, and that's pretty much what we did. So we're meeting with someone next month, and hopefully, if we don't get a direction, we at least maybe get closer to a budget. Unless somebody wants to volunteer.
So that's the next planning board meeting he's gonna present?
He's coming, yeah.
Might be good to attend.
Yeah.
And beyond that, it's pretty quiet on the planning
Okay.
board.
All right. We published the administrative correspondence. Anything?
No.
Nothing? Okay. Account balances, you can refer to them. In terms of the forest maintenance account, dealing with that. Conservation land use charge is $214,451.39. We've committed 213 on that to Upper Saco Land Trust. So you can count that as $1,451.39 effectively.
Yeah.
Gift account, we have $661.76. Capital reserve, we have $60,655.02. All right.
Have there been any unintended cuts that we would anticipate any more money coming into land use change?
Linda said a little bit, but I don't, she didn't give me the amount.
All right.
I have a question. Are we asking Tim Nolan to assess what additional things he might need to do on the properties after the last storm? You know, he did mention that he didn't know what status trails would be in with trees being down and things of that sort. So
Right.
I think we just need to ask him when he comes next time how he would go about that, or if he's had an opportunity to look at anything and see what might be additional for this summer.
Okay.
And maybe we should put a disclaimer on the website saying that the trails are not in good shape. I mean, the few that I've seen, there's trees everywhere. And just say, you know, be aware that they're
Be cautious.
not in the shape that they used to be in, and that just give people a heads up on that before they head out there. And
Makes
then,
sense.
in last fall, I think Josh and Mike Brooks were going to take the sign down at Hurricane Point. And I don't know that that sign's ever gone back up. I think it did come down, but I just didn't know
I think
if
they were gonna modify it. They
they're
were
gonna do something about
renovate it
that.
or whatever it makes.
So,
That's a follow-up.
need to follow up on that. But I do think there should be something on the website for the
Alright.
disclaimer about the condition of the trails. It could conceivably take us a couple of years to get those cleaned up.
I know.
All right.
And then would we be going through the properties again to determine this summer or this summer, fall, what
Well,
stewarding needs to happen?
we have this cycle, and we had a discussion on the properties, I don't remember which ones, but it was
Right.
within that $4,000
Right.
bucket that we approved. And again, cycling back, I was going to attempt to reduce all of that because of issues. But hopefully, we have the ability to do that, and maybe we modify it to have him review other trails and all of that. So get his opinion as to which ones are, I don't know which ones have the highest traffic. We don't have a toll on
That's a
who
good
goes,
point.
who goes where and what.
But we ought to look at Cascades. I mean, there's some
Yeah,
really,
some are
the
some-
Wold property.
Right.
The back behind the town hall here, the
Okay.
ward parcel.
The ward.
The ward,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there are some that are pretty typical that I would think we should look at.
All right.
And I think the one around McNary's, when there's cars parked there quite
Yeah, I
often,
have seen cars.
out that way. So,
The Durgan Pond.
The Durgan
yes, the
Pond,
Durgan
yes.
Pond
Yeah,
one.
that's a good one too.
I'll be doing the water, I'll be going out there within the next couple of weeks.
So
They
you'll
always
do
do in
that?
the spring
Okay.
and see what's. what
I'll
I can
try to
pick
get
up
around.
Small stuff.
Black Brook too, I know that one's got a lot of, that's where the
Oh,
trees
that's
came
where the
down.
trees came
Right.
down.
Yeah, so I'll try to get around that,
Good shape.
take a look.
Right. Yes.
Just in talking in general about the condition of the woods now, I walk almost every day somewhere in some woods with my dogs, and
what I'm coming across are trees that are down. Sometimes I can move them, sometimes I can't. My impression is that a cleanup would be, for clearing of trails, would be a chainsaw, 2 people, and a come-along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there isn't a lot of, I mean, you wouldn't haul the whole tree aside, just let it rot in the woods, but you would just cut out
Right,
Cut
The sections.
and then get rid of that piece.
Right,
right,
yeah.
okay.
A lot of damage. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Sure, okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.